program was pre-recorded.
You've entered the Fletch Nation with Roy Fletcher, political analyst and socio-political prophet, and Kevin Gallagher, TV and podcast host and opinionated jackhole. So settle in, grab a beverage. It's time to talk some politics. It's Fletch Nation. Now here are the boys.
Well, here's the boy. My co-host and friend, Kevin Gallagher, is not with us today. Had a death in his family. And I think he had to go to a funeral or make arrangements, whatever the case may be. So I'm going to try to sit in for both of us. And, I tell you, it's just a moment like this that I really miss Kevin. Yeah, he's always the guy that kind of keeps the thing flowing and keeps the banner going so that I can go off on the stupid stuff I want to talk about. But today I want to get right to what some of the things we want to talk about. We're going to have John Carmouche on today, and he will be doing his interviews with us today throughout the show. But I want to start with the big news this morning. This is Wednesday, December the 15th? December 15th or 16th? I forget. 15th. And this morning we woke up to, or late yesterday afternoon, we woke up to the announcement of the indictment of Sam Bankman-Fried, who is the cryptocurrency king, the mini Madoff of cryptocurrency, who was picked up in the Bahamas, and he was arraigned in the Bahamas, and he told the judge that he really didn't have time for all that because he had a lot to do and he was depressed, so he couldn't go to jail. Well, the judge said, it's fine, Sam, but head on out to the house there and put yourself in jail because that's what's getting ready to happen. The indictment came out of the Southern District of New York, the federal Southern District of New York, by the U.S. Attorney and a federal grand jury up there. And the indictment includes conspiracy charges as well as just substantive crime charges, wire fraud, money laundering, and the violation of FCC rules and laws, Federal Elections Commission rules and laws. In other words, defrauding that agency and the federal government of lawful activity. And probably there's a whole lot of lying and a whole lot of other stuff involved in it. But if you don't know, Fried is a guy 30 years old who apparently has, through his process of his company, whatever that was, cryptocurrency, and I don't understand cryptocurrency, don't even try to understand it, but apparently he has allegedly embezzled or stolen billions of dollars from people who invested in his company or in cryptocurrency through his company, through his other company, Alameda Research, where he was sending money that he took built out of consumers or investors, and he shoved it over to Alameda to make that company look good, Alameda Research. And then he was also charged with conspiracy and commission of lying to lenders because lenders had to loan Alameda money as well. So this kid at 30 years old has been on in interviews and on podcasts and things telling people that, gee, he didn't know what he was doing and he just made a mistake. Well, he made a mistake with an unbelievable amount of money, into the billions of dollars. His parents, who are Stanford law professors, ended up owning, I don't know how much, real estate in the Bahamas, but it may have been in the neighborhood of 125 million dollars of homes and et cetera. So the government now is not only charging him with the crimes, the substantive crimes that I just indicated, but they're also asking for forfeiture. And they're going to demand all the money and property and et cetera that they can acquire to be returned to people who invested, to people who are small investors, big investors, whatever the case may be, through the next few years. He faces if he's convicted on all 8 counts, he faces 115 years in prison. I mean, it's extraordinary for a young man 30 years old to face that. But 115 years because his crimes are huge. And they have affected our international economy and our own national economy in ways that we don't even know about yet, because you just simply can't bilk people out of that kind of money. And many of these people, life savings, who knows what. It's the same story as we saw with Madoff, the same story we've seen in Baton Rouge, the same story we've seen everywhere in the country when people attempt to make money quickly and do not tell the truth and are selling fables and fairy tales and quick returns. That's a warning to you. Don't take the word of somebody that wants to give you a quick return on a dollar. A dollar's a dollar, and you need to earn it. So, to any extent, he faces that. Now, one of the things that he did with that money was he gave apparently tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars to politicians and to political parties and to political action committees during the 2022 election and in the 20 election. Generally, and it's to both parties, generally more of it went to the Democrats, but some went to the Republicans as well. Nobody's pure in this thing. And, I mean, in Louisiana, I believe that our United States Senator Bill Cassidy received FTX money, or money from Freed. And so it's quickly now politicians are going who receive this money, I got to give it back, or I got to give it to some other charity or something to get it out of my hands. But it shows you the pernicious effect of money on the political system. Why did Freed give the money? It was simple, and he said it. He was trying to buy influence. He was trying to buy influence that to deregulate or whatever the cryptocurrency industry that he was in. Now, when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about politics, presidential race, so on and so forth, and then we'll go to John Carmouche. But stick with us a minute, and I'll try to entertain you. Thank you.
Got termites? Get Premier Pest. PremierPestServices.com.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Every great story starts starts with the rush of thrilling gaming action. Handcrafted flavors, eager to please. Getaways for some well-deserved me time. And rewards worth bragging about. If it's a story worth telling, it starts at La Berge Baton Rouge. What's your story?
Right now, at both locations of Team Honda, the Dream Deal sales event is now even better. For a limited time, get 0% financing on a great selection of certified Hondas. The savings are yours at Team Honda on Segan Lane in Baton Rouge and Team Honda of Acadiana on I-49 just south of Opelousas.
Visit Treads & Care Tire Company's new location on Hooper Road in Central. Locally owned for over 50 years, Treads & Care is known for quality automotive repair and top-notch customer service.
I'd like to invite you to come out and see us at our new location in Central.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Caught spiders. Premier Pest Services.
Well, welcome back. As you know, I told you in the first segment, Kevin is not with me today because of a death in his family. And we wish Kevin and his whole family our deepest sympathy. So now I want to turn to there's a theme here, so I'll take the next theme to it, which is money in politics and this sort of corruption that we see with FTX. We move to the whole situation now with, and I'll try to distinguish each part of it with Twitter, and with Hunter Biden, and lastly with Donald Trump, but. We now see from the disclosures, and I know a lot of people don't even keep up with Twitter, and I understand that, but it has been an enormously important story coming out of Twitter, which is that there was absolute clear efforts to suppress freedom of speech or the right to speak and political speech, which in the United States Supreme Court many, many years ago said was put political speech as the highest priority of speech there is. In other words, it should not be regulated because we live in a marketplace of ideas, and ideas ought to be, especially political ideas, ought to be expressed freely. But there was an effort. There was an effort, clear effort, a very, very insidious effort at Twitter during the 2020 campaign to suppress, and has been for a while, to suppress or shadow ban or whatever they want to call it, political speech, particularly as it related to conservative political thought. It included taking the President of the United States off of Twitter. And in order to eliminate him from Twitter, even though you have the head of Iran still on Twitter, you have different Hamas, you have different really crazy people on Twitter with crazy ideas about exterminating other people, they decided to take Trump off. And they did so without a clear reason for doing it. It did not. They had to make up policy when they decided to eliminate him or cancel him from Twitter. Then Elon Musk came along, and suddenly he's disclosed all of these files. And this has become a really big deal because it directly relates to the Hunter Biden story. And clearly there was an effort at Twitter to suppress the Hunter Biden story, which is fine. That's a private. That was a publicly traded company, and it was owned by the stockholders, and that's okay. You can suppress speech in the private sector, but what happened was the FBI, apparently the CIA, maybe, and certainly the DNI were all involved in helping to suppress in some way the Hunter Biden laptop story, and to frame it either as Russian that was the excuse, it was Russian disinformation or misinformation, but when in fact it appears to have been the laptop, the Hunter Biden laptop that disclosed so much and is still out there. It was in fact real. And the important part about it, one of the important parts about it, was that the FBI had the laptop for a year and never did anything with it, but they had the laptop, and they went to Twitter and suggested strongly that Twitter suppressed that story as we got later into the election season in 2020. So that in and of itself shows you. And part of the whole deal was that laptop disclosed large amounts of money flowing from Chinese business people and Chinese officials, or whatever, into bank accounts associated with the Biden family. This is a real situation. And it is a scandal at some point that will explode in the president's face and in his family's face. And it slowly but surely is occurring. Now, how do I know that? Because we see it as it relates to someone else. And we see it as it relates to Donald Trump. Not that he took money or whatever the case may be, like payoffs. But what's happened is that given the nature of what the DOJ has done, what the Manhattan District Attorney did with finding his company guilty on tax charges, what probably will occur shortly with his indictment for whatever happened with the documents or whatever the case may be in Mar-a-Lago, what it has done, it has tragically harmed him politically. And it is being seen now clearly in polling data throughout the United States. The American public, in a general way, strongly supports what is known as Trumpian policy. That is tough on foreign affairs, tough on trade, doing the things that he did, tax cuts, so on and so forth. They support that. But the enormous influence he had on our economy and American energy independence and lower gas prices and lower fuel costs. But the problem with it is that all of this stuff that has happened to him and his reaction to it over the last year, a year and a half, 2 years, January 6th on on, is that it has undermined his political capital. And now we see that in Louisiana, for example, even he's upside down in Louisiana, meaning his negative is higher than his positive. In the Republican Party, Ron DeSantis, the governor of Florida now, is beating him nationwide for the nomination of the party, and that probably is reflected in individual states. If we looked at them, clearly it is in Florida. I think I saw one the other day, a poll about Georgia, where it's the same. So the world has changed in that regard, and we're going to see more of that. So the president, the current president, the former president, all have these terrible problems, and on top of it, we have this stealing with FTX that is unbelievable. When we come back, we're going to go to John Carmouche, so stick with us, and we'll talk about the environment.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent. Depend on us for service, for selection, for price. Get huge Whirlpool savings. Shop now and save on Whirlpool appliances throughout the store. Plus, experience our price match guarantee and ask about special financing. You can depend on the know-how of people who live appliances every day. Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent with nationwide buying power.
I owed the IRS $10,000.
The IRS garnished my wages.
They put a lien on my house.
I'm self-employed and didn't report all my income. They claim I owe a lot more than I do.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency in the world. They do not give up until you pay.
I couldn't sleep. We were being audited. I called Tax Solutions Now, and a great big weight was lifted off my shoulders.
I called Tax Solutions Now, and they got the IRS off my back.
Tax Solutions Now had my wage garnishment lifted in 48 hours.
Tax Solutions Now can get you help. Our agents know the rules, can stop the pain, and get you the best deal.
Tax Solutions Now saved my business.
I qualified for the Fresh Start program. I paid less than I owed.
We connect you with a team of former IRS agents and tax professionals who get the IRS off your back. Time is running out. Call Tax Solutions now.
Call 800-778-4345. 800-778-4345.
Make the most of every moment together in a 3-row Mazda CX-9. Find yours during the season of inspiration.
Make no payments for 90 days on a new CX-9 during the season of inspiration at Team Mazda.
Hi, gang. Clarence Buggs here, inviting you to come by Old School Barbecue, 10655 Coursey Boulevard, where we tape the show live every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 11 o'clock. Come by and feast on news, sports, current events, love of God and country, and lots of common sense, along with some of the best barbecue anywhere on the planet. 10655 Coursey Boulevard, Old School Barbecue, home of the Clarence Buggs Show.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystoneCountryClub.com.
Welcome back. We appreciate you joining us today. It is a it's a Wednesday, December 15th. It is a very dark and ominous day in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. The weather is right now. We're supposed to have some really bad weather. Actually, it was supposed to be here by 9 o'clock, but it waited until I had to drive across town. And driving across town in Baton Rouge is hard enough anyway, much less with a downpour and threats of storm. We're going to go with a person that's been very important to this show in terms of what we've done, and that's coastal lawyer John Carmouche, who's engaged in a number of very, very high-profile cases and causes throughout Louisiana. And let's go ahead and join John now and stick with us and enjoy it. Thank you. For those of you on the radio that listen to us on the radio and those now seeing us on TV, we're going to start a new little series today with John Carmouche, an old friend of mine who I've done work for, who's an environmental lawyer, attorney here in the state of Louisiana, and in particular as it relates to our coast, our land, and our water, and the cleanup of our coast, land, and water. John, we appreciate you being here.
Thank you, Roy. Thank you for having me.
You have made a name for yourself in environmental law and litigation and so on and so forth. Tell us about your past and where you came from and what sort of sparked this interest.
Well, I'm from Napoleonville, Louisiana, born and raised. Then I went to Edie White High School in Thibodaux. But my whole life, since I was a child, I've enjoyed the outdoors of Louisiana. And it kind of brings back old memories and brings back thinking about my papa and my uncles and who would gather every Sunday for a dove hunt and a quail hunt. And there's everything you can do in Louisiana. That's why it's so precious and we have to protect it. You have dove hunting, quail hunting, rabbit hunting, squirrel hunting, deer hunting, hog hunting. It's all here.
Duck hunting?
It's all duck hunting.
Yeah.
It's all here. And if we don't protect it, and I'm watching the town I grew up in, Napoleonville, it's not the same. And it's because of what has happened on the coast. And we're watching things happen in our lifetime that is not going to be good for the future.
We're going to let me ask you this, rather than go to the where you went to school and that sort of thing. Tell us what's happened way down there on the coast. I mean, has there been literally physical changes to what land is left and that sort of thing? What do you see down there?
Roy, the biggest thing that we have done is collected aerial photography from the 1920s and 30s. And it is a dramatic change. We are losing hundreds of miles of land and marsh, precious of Louisiana, that protects not only the coastline, but it also protects upland.
Yes.
So it's a barrier. And those people's lives have changed. I mean, if you think back to the 1960s and 70s and you look at what happened then and how they lived and the prosperity they had to now, I mean, they've lost a lot.
Yes.
And they've had to move.
Yes.
And frankly, we've lost good citizens of Louisiana to other states because they've had to move.
And we have an exodus problem anyway. So when a fisherman or people in the fishing business go into those marshes and those kind of things, what do they see that's changed dramatically in those marshes? I mean, if they punch the ground, 2 or 3 feet down in the water, what happens?
Well, if they punch the ground where they had an old pit, because now you can't see the pit, so what happened was the oil companies dumped their waste into the marsh rather than injecting it down where you couldn't see it below the land. So they dump this waste into the marsh. You take a pole, you scrape the bottom, and an oil sheen comes up. It looks like almost a BP oil spill in the marsh.
Wow.
And now these people, these fishermen, are seeing nothing but water. There is no more land. There's no more marsh. So not only do you see that, but you have old pipes, you have old wells that these regular recreational fishermen are having to deal with every day.
So those are the things that you bring litigation on, correct, to try to address and solve, correct, or remediate?
The litigation is specifically to provable damages caused by the oil industry. Nothing more, nothing less. We have pinpointed exactly what the oil companies have caused, and we're only suing to restore to its natural state Louisiana's coast that was caused by the oil companies. That's what the lawsuit's about.
Now, we have this thing going on in Europe right now, and the price of gas and the price of oil is jumping like crazy. And I assume that that's going to continue because of the nature of, it was already jumped to $90 a barrel, and so it'd probably go to 120, maybe 150 now. So how does this affect Louisiana? I mean, what can you do? Do you have a program that not only deals with the litigation but deals with the economic future?
Since the beginning of the litigation, I'm a Republican who believes in bringing back jobs to Louisiana. And from the beginning, we need the oil industry. We need a balance.
So you're not against drilling?
No, I want drilling. And I think this is the opportunity for Louisiana to drill. We need to have a clean slate. We need to clean up the environment so oil companies can come in and operate and not be liable for what happened in the past. Let's open up Louisiana for business. The coast is open. Let's settle these lawsuits and open up the coast, and we'll have more jobs and more economic development in the coast than we've ever seen.
Fascinating. Last thing I want to ask you, I got off on all that and tell us a little bit about your education quickly.
I went to Catholic school in Prankerville, Louisiana, St. Elizabeth till 8th grade. Then I went to E.D. White Catholic School, and then LSU undergrad, graduated in business, and then I went to Loyola Law School in New Orleans.
Oh, you do more than just law business, though, right? I mean, you're in other businesses and enterprises, correct?
I do real estate business. I have a bunch of friends that I have teamed up with to do some type of economic development in different areas of the state where we try to go in and develop to create jobs in other parts of the state.
Okay. John Carmouche is going to be back on a regular basis, we hope, in the coming days. But we thank you, John.
Thank you, Roy. Appreciate it.
Yep. I was sorry you caught me on the doing business. I take that back. I'm sorry. We need to break. We're going to break, and we'll be right back. Stick with us.
Got termites? Get Premier Pest. PremierPestServices.com.
Hi, I'm Katie, Operation Manager here at Old School Barbecue. We're excited about all of the changes here at Old School, and we'd like to invite everyone to come out and enjoy some delicious barbecue at Old School prices. We feature brisket, chicken, ribs, sausage, and the Boss Hog pulled pork sandwich voted best deal in town. We also have live music Friday and Saturday from 7 to 10 p.m. 10655 Coursey Boulevard. We can't wait to see you.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Hey everybody, I'm Kevin Gallagher. This is Roy Fletcher. We hope you'll join us for Fletch Nation, especially if you like talking politics.
Hey, come and join us. We'll give you the information, and then we'll give you the context. And by the way, we'll give you fun too.
Lots of fun. We hit the local races, the state. We even look at what's going on all across America. And by the way, this space is available. If you'd like to talk about advertising, send your emails to Roy Fletcher at royfletcher.com and join us every week here on the Pelican for Fletch Nation.
Right now, at both locations of Team Honda, the Dream Deal sales event is now even better. For a limited time, get 0% financing on a great selection of certified Hondas. The savings are yours at Team Honda on Segan Lane in Baton Rouge and Team Honda of Acadiana on I-49 just south of Opelousas.
Caught spiders? best services.
Welcome back, and we did a couple of segments with John Carmouche, and we're going to the second segment now. And I think you need to pay attention to where he stands on different issues as they relate to Louisiana, not just the coast, but a number of different issues he addresses in this second segment. So let's go to John and now, and then we'll come back, and I got a few things I want to talk about at the end of the show too. So stick with us. Well, welcome back. We're with John Carmouche, a well-known coastal and environmental lawyer in Louisiana, a land lawyer. And we've been talking about sort of your past and your education and what sort of brought you to the fight for the coast of Louisiana. There's bigger issues, though, it seems, John. There's a new poll out by the New York Times over the weekend, the Siena poll, Siena College poll, that had 13% of the country in a good mood about the direction of the United States. What do you think about the direction of our country?
I think it's going in the wrong way. I mean, it's too divided, Roy. Too much politics. I grew up in a political family, but also grew up believing in the real world. And I think we've lost the touch of actually working together and putting politics aside. You can have your views, and I believe in strong conservative views myself as a Republican, but I also believe in a real world working together. I give the example that, we show up at work every day. There's so many businesses in Louisiana that are huge and making a large difference in Louisiana. They show up to work every day to work together as a business. They don't show up every day to say, are you a Republican, Democrat, Independent? They show up every day, they work together, and they accomplish huge things in Louisiana. But it just seems like as soon as you turn on the political TV,
when you walk in the state capitol,
it's politics. And everybody forgets that Louisiana needs to be run like a business. And to do that, you have to work together. And I think we've lost that in this state.
I can't think of a way to get it back either. But the fact is that the point that you're making is that it's a necessity.
It's an absolute necessity. This state needs to turn in the direction of working together as a business to bring businesses here and to grow the economy and bring our kids back.
Well, you bring up the economy. I mean, what do you think of the general direction of Louisiana and our economy in Louisiana is right now?
It's terrible. I mean, we're in the 21st century, and we're running this state like it's 1950. It's time to change. It's time to be pro-business. It's time to bring our kids back and make them want to come back. And right now, we need dramatic change on education. We need a dramatic change on how we deal with businesses. We need to bring the oil industry back. I mean, everybody says I'm against the oil industry. I'm not against the oil industry.
We talked about that last week. I mean, you're quite the opposite, correct?
I am the opposite, because I believe in, if we zero out the liability, we can bring back...
You mean the sort of the coastal liability?
Clear the coastal liability, clean up this state, and make them want to come back. And we can bring the oil industry back. We have to make the dramatic change in the state that we've needed for a long, long time. And not just because of the oil industry.
That's one of the things that you have talked about that's so different, and that is, for right now, for the Biden administration had taken the position that the 5-year plan on offshore drilling, they're just not even going to bring it up anymore. They're not going to discuss it. On the other hand, you've taken the position if you clean up the coast and the liability gets cleaned up, then what you want is an industry that can drill and manufacture and produce, and the liability be gone.
Not only the liability be gone, But there are great operators in the state of Louisiana today. And there are great operators that want to come here in Louisiana.
In the oil and gas industry.
In the oil and gas industry.
Yeah.
And get our industry and our people back to work and do it the right way.
Yeah.
And that's the key, is do it the right way, bring them back, grow the economy with zero liability, and let's move on.
One of the things that has been discussed in the last couple of weeks, Governor Ducey of Arizona has passed what they call the most Education Freedom Choice Act in the country, where basically the money follows the student rather than going to the county or the school board or what. It follows the student. Wherever the student goes, whatever school the student decides to go to, the money follows. When you say dramatic change from Louisiana in education, that would be something that you'd want to look at, I would assume, huh?
Definitely. I mean, I have to study it, but my position on education is we have to get our kids to want to stay here. And our education, it needs a dramatic change in how we educate our kids, because our kids have to want to be educated. You can't make and force these kids to do something they don't want to do. So there's a lot of things that look at trade schools and getting these kids to be educated on the jobs we have for them in Louisiana. And
market sensitive.
Market sensitive. Yeah. And make this a state where we promote working here, not promoting outside of the state.
Right.
So I think all of those programs are great programs to look at, and definitely the state of Louisiana needs a change in education.
But you would say that if you're not teaching the basics and doing the basics, reading, writing, and arithmetic, you're not really accomplishing much, are you?
Correct.
Yeah, that's the kind of dramatic change Louisiana needs. We have a couple of things that I kind of call it the quick round, and we'll go ahead and get into a little bit of that. You give me quick answers to questions that people ask. One is like, you say you're a Republican. What's your position like on the Second Amendment?
I'm for it, Roy.
I mean, that's pretty much says it all right there. You're for it, you know. What about immigration, illegal immigration, and that sort of thing?
I'm for building the wall. I'm for keeping them out. This is the United States of America, and as long as you legally come here, then I think you should go through the process.
I got you. So now, John, if I've taken my cue properly, we can now go to a break, and we'll be back in a moment. Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Welcome back to the show. I appreciate John doing those interviews with me. They've been very good through the last 6 months. It has begun to really storm in Baton Rouge outside, and stick with us. We'll be right back, and then we'll finish the show here shortly. Thank you.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystoneCountryClub.com.
Sometimes life is wonderful, and sometimes it's not. Cherish the good, but always be prepared for life's challenges. At Private Healthcare, we provide the peace of mind you deserve. With Private Healthcare, you'll get the coverage you want and healthcare you need. If your employer doesn't supply healthcare coverage and you don't qualify for Medicare or Medicaid, you need to give us a call right now. Private Healthcare is private health insurance for ages 65 and under with medical, dental, vision, and even prescription coverage. When life comes at you unexpectedly, you need to be ready. And health insurance is your financial safety net. Health insurance has never been so easy and affordable. If you're looking for health coverage at the best price and your annual household income is $35,000 or more, call the number on the screen now and speak with a live healthcare consultant. Don't wait. Get the coverage you need now.
Every great story starts with the rush of thrilling gaming action. Handcrafted flavors, eager to please. Getaways for some well-deserved me time. And rewards worth bragging about. If it's a story worth telling, it starts at La Berge Baton Rouge. What's your story?
Tremonti's has meat. Tremonti's has seafood. Tremonti's has much more. Tailgating and home gating platters. Huge wine and liquor selection. Beer and all the spices you need. Chairman Reserve and Wagyu meats. Ribeye rolls, shrimp rolls, kebabs. 20 flavors of sausage for the grill. Daily lunch specials and game processing. On-site catering also available. Good meat ain't cheap and cheap meat ain't good. Visit Tremonti's.com.
You can't smell it, but you can almost taste it. And whether it's for a family get-together or a game day feast, having Manda in the mix always sounds good. For 3 generations, their quality meats and original seasonings have made Manda a Louisiana legend and made their family sausage Louisiana's family sausage. Manda Fine Meats, the flavor says it all.
Treads & Care Tire Company announces its new location on Hooper Road in Central. Locally owned for 50 years, Treads & Care is known for quality automotive repair with top-notch customer service. Treads & Care offers the convenience of shuttle service and pickup and delivery of your vehicle. You can also enjoy the comfortable customer area, complete with workstations, high-speed internet, and a complimentary coffee bar.
I'd like to invite you to come out and see us at our new location in Central.
Treads & Care, the tires you need and the service you want.
I spoke a little early. When we're going to go to John for the last segment of this interview, and then when we come back, I'm going to have a couple of comments about the future of our show. And so let's go to John Carmouche now, and then we'll be back and finish the show out. Go ahead. We're with John Carmouche here talking about all things Louisiana, frankly. And John is a noted coastal and land and environmental lawyer in our state that's had a tremendous impact on the state of Louisiana and the fight for our coast. John, we were talking in the last segment about dramatic change for Louisiana, and you said one of the things that we need is how we deal with business. In terms of what do you think are the kinds of things that we need to be looking at? It relates to bringing business into Louisiana. Hell, they're leaving California. They're going to Florida and they're going to Texas. How about a little something in between here, you know, for the folks, you know? But that's, what do you think?
I think it goes back to what we were talking about, dramatic change. And it all comes together as one, right? If you can't just change the business environment, you can't just change education, you can't just change crime, you have to have it all.
Right.
And to be honest, why shouldn't we? You know, we live in a great state, we have a great environment for businesses. All we have to do is have enough guts to make the dramatic change. And the first thing businesses look at is all of these CEOs they're getting around the country is the first thing to ask is, what's the education like? All of these people have kids and have families. The next thing is, what's the crime like? So
that's not good.
Even though the business, you might give tax deductions to businesses that done in the past, if we don't change the core of what why these families want to move here, they're not going to come. They're not going to come. So you got to change it all. You got to change your education. You got to change. Why is there so much crime here? I mean, come on. This is something that has to be changed, and it can be changed.
Well, one of the things that people may not know about you is that your father was a district attorney for, I think, 6 years down in the 23rd Judicial District. Is that right? Yeah, okay. That's Ascension, Assumption, and St. James parishes, yeah. Don Carmouche. And we have witnessed an extraordinary explosion in violent crime in Louisiana. I mean, what do you think has created this situation, and what do you think we can actually do about something that's so pervasive in our bigger cities in Louisiana?
Well, first, education. Number two is we have to be hard on crime. For some reason, I think we've We've gotten the concept wrong of we just let people out on bail for smaller amounts. We ignore major crimes in Louisiana. We need people to know here, if you commit a crime, you're going to be punished. And I think we've gotten away from that concept and actually educating kids in these schools. And to be more frank, in the jails and in the prisons. Some of these kids go to jails and prisons and they're there for a year and they're sitting around doing nothing. They work. Why can't we educate them? Not only education school-wise, math, like you talked about, reading.
But culturally.
Culturally, and to understand that when you do these things, you give up the rest of your life and you give up your freedom. There's things that we can do in these prisons and in these jails. I was on the board of the Donaldsonville Marine Institute. It was a program where instead of sending these kids to jail when they were minors, they had an opportunity to go to this program and go to school from 7:30 to 7 at night. And a Marine Institute started in Florida, and it was in other states.
Like the U.S. Marine Institute.
Well, I mean, but it's kind of like that. It's kind of like that.
Yeah, military.
It was a military school.
Yeah.
Not military in nature, but they educated them.
Yeah.
And they understood that there's an alternative here. And the alternative is actually living in a way that you can be proud of yourself and be proud of your family and have a family. And a lot of these kids don't realize that that's available to them.
Yeah, and I guess the other part of it is that you have an entire economy that there has to be opportunity.
There has to be opportunity, and we've lost big businesses, and I'm not going to mention names, because they couldn't hire the quality of people because they didn't want to come here because of education.
Yeah.
And you know, in schools and places to raise their families.
Yeah. Now, how do you see the whole thing for Louisiana going forward? And not only just the coast, which is what your primary concern is with, but it's sort of the whole thing. What happens if we do the coast? What do we look forward to? What can we look forward to?
Well, first, we need a leader, and we need politicians to quit being politicians and be businessmen and work together. Too many smart people in Louisiana, and actually wake up and fight for what we live for, which is family and culture, right? So we need someone to wake up every morning to fight and go out and seek the best. We deserve the best. And we want the best businesses, we want the best education. We wake up every morning, I see this leadership, and we wake up to mediocrity. And that's been satisfactory for this state. But I think that has to change. It
Different world now, isn't it?
It has to start at the top. And the top, if we don't have a leader, if you don't have a leader in schools, you don't have a leader in politics, you don't have a leader in businesses. It's all the same. People don't realize it. It all starts at the top and it trickles down, and we need to be fighters. We need to win. And to win, we have to want it. And that's, I think this state now sees we can have it, other states have it, and we can win.
You know, there was a politician that used to have a slogan called "Why Not the Best?" I forget who it was, but needless to say, John, I appreciate you being with us, talking with us, and we'll see you around some more. Thank you, John.
Appreciate it.
Welcome back. I want to thank John Carmouche, and that was when you see those three segments put together, that interview, it's pretty impressive. I had to say so myself. Let me take up a couple of things before we go. One is that we're going to have other new interviews with John in the future. And a few days ago, about a month ago, a friend of mine asked me a question that I didn't even have an opinion on, which is kind of amusing, because I generally have an opinion on everything. Whether it's right or wrong, who knows? But generally wrong. But they asked me a simple question. They said, "Why are these drug dealers selling fentanyl to people when it's killing their customers?" Well, I didn't have any idea, and if you know what fentanyl is, it's just very, very, very dangerous stuff. It's being sold on the streets now. It's being sold in ways that even people that do drugs don't even know what they're doing, and it can kill you immediately. And there have been a number of deaths with it. And I couldn't answer that question. Why would you want to kill your customer base? So I started reading about it, and I've got some more reading to do. But in the next month or so, I want to bring law enforcement people on our show that can talk about this fentanyl problem. Like yesterday in Arizona, there was 1.5 million pills, fentanyl pills, seized. That's enough to kill the whole country, frankly. It could kill everybody. Fentanyl is very, very, very toxic. So I want to bring on some people that can talk about that in the future. With that said, there was some sad news this week with the death of Mike Leach at Mississippi State. I loved Mike Leach as a coach. I didn't know him, but I just loved him as a coach. I remember he was at Texas Tech. They would throw the ball 40, 50, 60 times a game. I wanted my daughter to go to college there so bad so I could go to Texas Tech football games and just watch Air Leach, just let it rip. Then he went to Washington State and won a Pac-12 championship, I believe, and it was the same kind of offense, and then he came to State. I love Mike Leach. He was a terrific coach, and sorry to see, very sad to see him pass away. The second thing I thought that was really kind of sad this week was that Dr. Ben Carson, African-American doctor who was the head of HUD under Donald Trump, who was the first surgeon in the world to disconnect cojoined twins, cojoined at the head, at the brain. He literally did that surgery. It was a mammoth surgery. It was like 18, 24 hours that he was in the operating room to do that. The very first one, successfully do it. And the school board, all-black school board in Detroit, decided to take his name off of a building up there. A man that had, because of his political views, a man that had done so much scientifically and medically for people, his name was canceled. Folks, this is not good. This is not the kind of thing that we should be about. So, anyway, stick with us. We'll be back next week. Kevin will be here, and we're going to kind of change the format of the show and move on to new subjects and new ideas and new things. And we appreciate you being with us. Have a good day.
You've been listening to Fletch Nation with Roy Fletcher and Kevin Gallagher. Remember, if you heard something that ticked you off, upset your sensibilities, or threatened your precious safe space,
the opinions expressed by the hosts and guests are purely their own and do not reflect those of this radio station or its advertisers.
So if you're calling a lawyer, or planning a boycott, or a cancel campaign, forget about it and join us next week for more Fletch Nation.